Hello and welcome to my first review of questionable quality, Fear 3. So we'll get right into the game. This is the first level, some kind of underground base it seems. The cover system, as you can see, is pretty standard. You hide behind things and pop out and shoot the enemies as they appear, duck behind to reload, and moving on once they're dead, pretty standard. Here's the riot shield guards. One pretty neat thing about these guys is you can actually pick up the metal shields you use and use it as mobile cover. Hang on. No. Oh, I've loaded the wrong game. This is Time Crisis. Oh, hang on. Here we are. Sorry, that was my fault. Here we are. Fear 3. Finally. Here we go. So, as you can see, it's nice and dark and grey. You're in some kind of prison at the moment, completely weaponless except for the knife you saw stab him with and stab him with in the back. So, how can you confuse this with Time Crisis, I hear you ask? Well, it is actually quite easy, as you're about to see, as the cover system comes into play. Because, to be honest, what's the difference between this and Time Crisis? It won't let you continue until you use cover. And then you shoot from cover, and you're done. I mean, it's the same thing. You're shooting someone with a pistol. Oh, wasn't expected, was it? Scary. Not really. That happens all the time, and you just get used to it and you don't care. Anyway, the scares in this game are startling. There's only one place in the entire game I think I actually jumped because I wasn't expecting to be startled. Everywhere else you just expect stuff like that to pop out all the time.
It's taking those assholes so long.
So here's some more cover-based shooting. See that they're just coming towards you like they do in Time Crisis, and you shoot at them, and they die, and you go behind cover when you get hit, and you regenerate health. Now, the first game which I played had regenerating health up to a point. You regenerated something like 25 hit points, but you still relied on medkits to regenerate your health. But not here. You can just hide behind cover for I think it's about 30 seconds at most, and you get full health back, and then you storm into the fray again. It completely trivializes the whole game. It even happens when you're in the vehicles. Vehicles with regenerating health. Mechs. Giant badass walking mechs that when they reach 0 hit points kick you out and then recharge their hit points while you're outside. So all you have to do is avoid enemies for 10 seconds and you can jump back into them as if they'd taken no damage. And that's not a hard thing to do because the mechs themselves make for some really nice cover. One thing Fear always tried to get across was the fact to have a really good story, and it's no different here. The story is excellent until it ends. It feels like it's half done. The story was really good up until the 7th level. It feels like it should be the midpoint of the game, but then it jumps to the last level, which, to be honest, is a perfect ending to the story. They could not have done better ending to the story, but it's quite disjointed. You don't quite understand why I've all of a sudden arrived at the final level from where I was. There was no intervening time between me finishing the last level and then ending up at the final level. It was quite jarring, and there was no build up to it. The final boss as well was built up to throughout the whole game, but you didn't realise it was that until it was basically the same thing they did before. They put a little twist in that, oh, that's what that was chasing me. It's the final boss. And they threw at it. They really ruined it. They've wasted a good story by not finishing it. They could have done another 3-4 levels between that just to bridge the gap. So apart from the story, the combat was good. I'll give it that. The combat was, I might make a joke about it being cover based and all this kind of crap, but it was okay. It was passable, the combat. There's some nice little gimmicks here and there, like being able to pick up the riot shield. That was actually true, by the way, in that original. You can pick up the riot shield and you can use it as a weapon, and you can fire your gun through it as well and everything, and you can shield bash with it, and that's pretty much it for the gimmicks in the game. other than of course the bullet time, but that's not a gimmick anymore, that's just bog standard for most shooters. There really isn't much more to say about the weapons. They're mediocre, they're lackluster, they're identical to most other games nowadays. You've got your nail gun, your party weapon, your RPG. They do exactly what they say on the tin, they do what every other game in existence does with them. You've got your semi-auto rifle, you've got your machine gun, and you've got your shotgun. You've got your pistol, you've got your dual wielding Uzis, and you've got a knife. There's no real innovation in the weapons at all, but they get the job done. And they make a satisfying noise, and the nail gun pins people to walls. That's exactly the same as in the other games. But you know, it's Fear. What's Fear without a nail gun? Now, Fear was never a big innovator in level design. It had nice set pieces like this one here, but they're pretty much all the same. I mean, 2 levels, maybe 3 if you want to go for a push, with some stairs up to it. And it's just a shooting gallery, just like Time Crisis. I mean, the original also had some pretty decent AI in it for the time. I mean, the AI was lauded for working in teams and being the next evolution in AI, but this one, the AI seems absolutely, utterly stupid. I mean, just look at this bit of the film. They can't shoot through the floor, but they try anyway. They can see me through the floor, but you can't shoot through it, and they try anyway. They try and shoot through cover at me, despite the fact it can't be destroyed. And they don't even try and flank me, they don't even try and come down the stairs. I did this the first time round, and I was waiting for them to come down the stairs, but they didn't. I had to actually go up the stairs to engage them before they would even come near me, and they would just sit there shooting at a wall forever. They wouldn't even try and flank me. They were just utterly thick, and it's all the way through the entire game that they have same AI. They don't change at all. They increase the hit points of some of them, they give them different weapons, but the AI is the same, and they keep calling out that they're down to the last man and I've been hit and all this kind of stuff. Yes, it's nice to get some audio feedback, but these have to be the stupidest grunts in the world. They just are utterly thick as mince. I mean, who shouts, "I'm on my own," or "my entire squad's been killed," letting you know that you're the last person alive and I can just come up and shoot you in the face without fear of someone coming up behind me and shooting me in the back? No, you don't do that. You try and outflank me, but the AI just hides behind cover and waits to get shot at. Okay, occasionally they come up to you and they all come barreling round a corner at once. It's just like a nice little column of shooting, but the AI is nothing special at all. Indeed, the hardest part of the game that I found was a bit towards the end where you're completely deafened. There was like a buzzing going on, it was a spooky, horrible horror thing, but you were fighting the normal grunts, guys I'm shooting at just now, and you couldn't hear them. You couldn't hear where they were, you couldn't hear them shouting, you couldn't hear them saying that I'm hit, you couldn't hear anything. It was like playing with the muted, and it was the hardest part of the game because the AI isn't actually okay, but when they start calling out everything that they're doing, when you know what they're doing, it trivialises the entire game. And there's a lot of places where the game is trivialised by design decisions. Things like them calling out their attacks, things like the mech recharging hit points when you're not in it, and things like one boss fight, which I'll show you a video at the end of this, where you cannot do it with the conventional weapons. You have to use a trick to beat it because they are impossible. You fight 2 of these guys at once, but one on their own is a pretty hard boss fight. 2 of them are impossible without using this trick, and the fact that you can do the trick seems like it's part of the design of the game to do it this way, and it is just completely trivialised, and it was boring. It was boring because it was trivialised. It was utter tripe, and I'll show you the video at the end and I'll probably rant like this over it as well. So I have to ask myself, was it worth the £30 I shelled out for this game? Well, since I've only played half the game, because I haven't played the multiplayer, can't really say whether it was worth the £30 or not. Was it worth the £15 then? Because I've only played half the game. I would say no. I would probably wait until it comes out on sale. It'll be on a Steam sale at some point, you can almost guarantee that, and it's probably worth getting it. It's a good game, the story's good, game itself is okay, it's mediocre, it's middle of the road, there is almost nothing special about it. If you played the original Fear, if you played the second one, you've probably seen all that you want to see in the third one. You probably want to see how the story ends. The story is very good. I would recommend it to play through for the experience of the story if you've played the first two, just to finish off the story, because it does wrap it off quite nicely. Would I recommend this to someone who hasn't played Fear before? Probably not. I would recommend you play the first one. It is really old, so you'd probably get it for about $5, and decide whether or not you like that one, because it is the same game. It is practically identical in gameplay terms to it, just extra regenerating health, and it's a hell of a lot easier. So this is the boss I was talking about earlier, where all you do is hide behind a gimmick, a little trick. So I got my back up against the wall here, and I'm hiding behind the riot shield, and between his kicks I'm trying to bash him, and I keep bashing him until his health drops down. Every so often, to break up the monotony, I shoot the gun that's in my hand as well, but that causes problems because then I have to reload and his kicks get through. So the best way to do it is just to sit there with your shield up, and every time he kicks, you bash him, and he just kicks and you bash. I go for a double bash and I get hit. I get my hit points down. I have to sit and wait for them to regenerate, and I decide to shoot, reload, see, hit points down because I reloaded, and then I bash him, kick. I have to sit and wait, shoot at him again because I'm bored, his shield's gone down, now he keeps kicking me, and I bash him, kick, bash, kick, kick, bash, kick, bash, kick, bash, kick, bash, kick, bash, kick, bash, kick, bash. Look at him, he's sparking. Kick, bash, kick, bash, kick, bash. Oh, reloaded, kick. Oh, I'm nearly dead. Wait for my health to regen, kick, shoot at him until he explodes. Oh, look at him, he's writhing around in pain. And he's gone. I win. I am so brilliant.